Good morning, Derek. Nice to see you this morning. Sure hope you're feeling better. Good morning. There we go. Good morning, Free. That was a very nice message from you last night. Thank you. I shared it with my sister. I appreciate you very much. Good morning. Good morning, Nerdy. Lovely to see you this morning. Good morning, Laura. I see Aaron. Good morning, Laura. Mushy. Mushmouth, good morning. Good morning, good friends. Put melted chocolate and strawberries in an ice cube tray and freeze for several hours. These decadent cubes will make for a fresh, refreshing summer treat. Okay, Free, you've never tried this before. You have never tried this one before. Wait. I know I haven't tried it and I want to. Wait for this one. This is something Free has never tried. Pour pancake batter to make the best pancakes ever. You won't forget it. You won't regret it. Why does that sound delicious? Why does, good morning, Terry. Why does that sound delicious, Free? That sounds delicious. I have a question though. It doesn't answer it here. Are the strips of bacon already cooked? Or do you put raw bacon? I feel like they should already be cooked. What do you guys think? I'm going to read it again. Pour pancake batter over strips of bacon to make the best pancakes ever. Derek, it has to be cooked, right? How could the bacon cook inside the pancake? Nerdy, I say it's pre-cooked. What do you guys think? I wonder if we should try it both ways. Higgs, it's got to be cooked, right? It doesn't make sense if it's not cooked. Ruffy, you ready to say good morning? Huh? Good morning, everybody. Ruffy, are you enjoying your visit at Auntie's house? Huh? How did your toys get up there? I didn't put them up there. How did your toys get up there? That wasn't from me. A bacon donut, Mr. Phillips. That's kind of freaking me out. What do they crumble the bacon on top? Is it just crumbles instead of sprinkles? Sprinkles? Good morning, Exception. Isn't Ruff adorable? He is loving this visit. He absolutely loves my sister. I mean, I love my sister, but geez. This guy acts like his long-lost best friend. I think he's just bored with me. Okay, get this music back, Pops. What did you do? Good morning, everybody. Crumbles with maple ice cream. Higgs, I think that's it. You're right. He likes girls. Mark, I have not heard from Bill. I should write him again. I sent a message to him on Monday. I'm making a note to myself right this second. So as soon as the show is over, see how he's doing, get you guys a report. I'm making myself a note as we speak, okay? Thanks for bringing that up. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. from Maryland. We're in Maryland. If you're a vegetarian, don't try and make your pets vegetarians. It can kill them. If you're a vegetarian, don't try to make your pets a vegetarian. Why would you do that? What are you going to do? Feed them carrots? Actually, Ruff likes carrots. But he likes, you know what he really likes? Tuna. Exception, that was kind of a dumb one, wasn't it? Listen to this one, coffee drinkers. Listen to this one, all you coffee drinkers out there. Oh, geez. Come on, Popsy. Get the music right. Huh. Give me 1 second, why? What's going on? Okay, I got that. All right. Give me 1 second. This is odd. What the heck is going on around here, Pops? It's not allowing me to hook up to the Wi-Fi. All right, we'll go without music for right now. Okay. Coffee drinkers. Coffee drinkers, are you guys ready? Take a sip of your coffee before adding in sugar. You won't need as much sugar for it to taste as sweet afterwards. Never heard of that one. Before you add the automatic add sugar, take a drink, a little sippy sip. And then add as much. I call that very interesting. Boy, I hope there's, it can't be the whole Wi-Fi or I wouldn't be able to broadcast to you guys. I wonder what's going on. Oh, I think I might be connected now. Okay, let's see. Things that make you go, Paige, no more cream, huh? No more creamer for you. That's awkward that my, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Can't get the smell of garlic off of your hands? Rub them on stainless steel for 30 seconds before washing them. I wonder what the stainless steel takes the garlic molecules off your hands or something. Huh? Justin's like, I want to smell like garlic. It keeps the werewolves at bay. Speaking of garlic, can I toot my own horn? You guys know Pops is pretty good at tooting. I toot, toot. I toot my own horn every once in a while. Pretty often, actually. Aaron, toothpaste when you clean fish. That's interesting. Joe, that's funny. You don't know which one you're actually addicted to, the coffee or the ciggies. Things that make me go, So Tootie, toot toot, I made the best garlic bread of my whole life last night. So you think it's the zinc kills the enzymes. What are you doing, Herbie? What are you? Like some kind of a chemical analyst? I made the best garlic bread of my life last night. It was delicious. Yeah, I showed off, like, made spaghetti. My sister was like, I didn't know you could cook. I go, come on. Come on. Oh, this is a good one. On top of your ice cream to prevent freezer burn. I hate freezer burn. I hate freezer burn. When I look at my stuff in the freezer, if it has freezer burn, it's done. I'm not going to cook it after it's been freezer burned. Sorry, I blew it. I didn't seal it correctly. It's got to go. Freezer burn creeps me out. Give you one more. Let's go with one more. Sparky, good morning. 54 people, 34 likes. That 54 is sure awfully good. 34, let's do a little bit of soul searching. Okay? Let's do some soul searching. Before cutting up a pineapple, place it upside down in the freezer for 30 minutes. Since all the sugar sinks to the bottom of the fruit, this will disperse it. So you'll have more sugar coverage throughout the whole fruit. Next life, when I actually go to slice my own pineapple, I'll remember that. I'm not a pineapple slicer. One more before I go. Before we're done with life hacks. All right? Gatorade and Powerade. Okay, what is stainless steel bonds to the sulfur compounds and stinky stuff? Okay, Paige, thank you. Okay. Gatorade and Powerade are only healthy when used during a workout and watered down. Otherwise, it's mostly extra sugar and empty calories. Okay? Well, I'll give you one more. When you're thirsty and you're out in the middle of the desert, you're a desert rat, okay? When you're thirsty and limited water is available, man, there isn't much water around here. Rinse your mouth for 30 seconds before swallowing. You take your drink and you move it around in your mouth for 30 seconds before you swallow. Most of your thirst comes from a dry mouth. So wet the whole mouth up real good and you won't be nearly as thirsty. Okay, all right, okay. We're gonna buy that one. We buy it. Lock, stock, and barrel. Yesterday I mentioned I was gonna start reading you guys this really quite surprising article. Who remembers Sybil? Do you remember the movie Sybil? I remember the first time I saw it, it freaked me out. I was like, this can't be real. Sally Fields, I think, was Sybil. Some of you youngsters are going to be too young to remember Sybil. Carrie remembers. Colleen remembers. Kitty Cat Meowzilla remembers. Do you remember Sybil? What was Sybil's deal? How many personalities did she have? 812? Something like that. Do you remember that? I was going through some books middle of last week. And one of the books that I saw the title of was about Sybil. And I know I exaggerated with how many. Somebody look up real quick while we're here. Somebody Google, how many personalities did Sybil claim to have? How many did she claim? I remember that movie. It freaked me out. And then after that, half of the diagnosis in the world were you have multiple personality disorder. Do you remember that? So the book, the premise of the book, I read the first chapter or two and then I get the idea of the book. The premise of the book is that the therapist perpetrated a hoax. 16 personalities according to Paige knows stuff. 16 persons. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Paige. 16. Hi, I have 16 personalities. The premise of the book was that the therapist perpetrated a hoax, not only on the client, but on the psychology community as a whole. That they're just complete, after that, there was complete and total overdiagnosis of multiple personality disorders. Psychologically, is it possible to have multiple personalities? The answer is yes. And it comes from those childhood trauma. But this one was completely overstated. And as I continued to read, there's no really verifiable time that anybody had up to 16 of these multiple personalities. Much of it was hypnosis-induced suggestion. So I didn't even find that out until last week. Up until last week, I thought Sybil was the real deal. I'm sorry, Sybil, we figured you out. Check this out, okay? Do you think that who thinks that psychiatrists and other therapists, psychologists and other therapists, who thinks that that they sometimes misdiagnose? I think they do. I don't think they're inerrant. I don't think that they can't make a mistake. I would hope that it's well-intentioned, that their diagnosis well-intentioned and they're not doing it deliberately. But I believe that they're very capable of misdiagnosing. And I also believe that it would be almost lucrative to keep bringing people back so they could, Carrie, there's a little drugs involved there, isn't it? I believe that there's probably a few shiesties out there that are like, well, make stuff up so you keep coming back for more therapy. It's just my own thought. How's this? Let's look at this. The therapy that can break you. Internal family systems. The reason I'm reading this article to us here, and it might take me 2 days to get through it. It's a pretty big article. It's got a lot of information in it. The reason that I'm reading it is because I'm in the process of trying to get certified as a facilitator. And the more I'm getting deeper into the process, the more I understand the ethical and moral obligations of a facilitator. It's actually overwhelming, if you want it to be. People are coming to you that are hurting. People are coming to you, the expert, for help. Of all of the times that you have perfect opportunity to take advantage of people, this is it. And it's balanced by, of all of the times in your life you'll have opportunities to really, which I do, this is it. It depends on how you do it. It depends on what your heart is. Am I doing this for healing purposes, or am I doing this for profit? And you guys already know what Pops feels, what Pop's thoughts are on profit relative to mental wellness and healing. Internal family systems is a wildly popular trauma treatment. Some patients say it destroyed their lives. Bobby Lurs put his 16-year-old daughter on a plane in New York so she could check into an eating disorder clinic in Missouri. As a little girl, Elizabeth was vivacious and gregarious and everybody's best friend, he tells me. But she struggled as a teenager. She was cutting class, and Bobby observed her engaging in what seemed to be restrictive behaviors around food, sometimes even using meals as bargaining chips. I'll eat this if I get that. One day, Elizabeth brought home a brochure from the Castlewood Treatment Center. It looked like a luxury retreat, a modernist residential facility perched in the bluffs overlooking the Merrimack River outside St. Louis. She begged to go, Bobby says, and in 2011, he and her mother agreed. When your daughter tells you she might have an eating disorder, your heart stops, and you say, okay, anything it takes to get you fixed, he says. Several weeks in, strange things started happening. Elizabeth called to tell him that she had enjoyed bartending at his tavern. Bobby, who once worked as a chef for Howard Stern and owned a bar upstate, told her that had never happened. He wouldn't let a teenager bartend, nor would his clientele, especially because it was a cop bar. I could tell I was on speakerphone, and I felt like I was in some kind of a therapeutic session, and girls in the background. Not long after that, Bobby says, Elizabeth sent her stepsister, the daughter of Irene, whom Bobby had married in 2002, an unsettling text, asking if Bobby had ever inappropriately touched her. When Bobby heard about it, he confronted Elizabeth. Why was she asking these awful questions? She just had a bad dream, he recalls her telling him. That, he adds, was the last thing she ever said to me. You send your daughter off for counseling for an eating disorder, and all of a sudden she's saying, you remember when I used to work at your bar? Has Dad ever inappropriately touched you? And it was the last he'd ever heard from her. The next time Bobby saw his daughter was at a New York State Child Protective Service office. 4 months after she'd gone into treatment in 2011, the agency, along with the Schenectady County Department of Social Services, launched an investigation, into the claims and allegations Elizabeth had made against her father while at Castlewood. She claimed he had been, this is so sad, she claims he had been raping her since she was 4 years old, and allegedly, in explicit detail, that numerous other men, including his friends, his bar patrons, and local police officers, had joined in the abuse. Yeah, Dad, your whole bar was raping me. All those cops. They were raping me since I was 4. At the hearing, Bobby had trouble recognizing her. Once an accomplished cross-country runner, she was now chain-smoking. And when she took the stand, Bobby watched in horror as she appeared to act out different characters. One was called the manager, and another was called the firefighter, he says. She'd clench her fists and puff out her chest. That was the protector. Irene recalls imitating the persona's low, booming voice. It rings in my head how she would say that. Herbie, 14 years old. After she testified, and it was the most glaring, sexual, disgusting, deviant testimony you ever heard, she gets up and she pirouettes like a ballerina out of the courtroom. Bobby said it was heartbreaking. Duh. Bobby denied the allegations then, and he still does. I was investigated by everybody. State troopers, Child Protective Services, my local police, he adds. They probed Irene too, who was at the risk of losing the custody of her other daughter now, who was about the same age as Elizabeth, the stepdaughter. In the end, Bobby said he was told by investigators there was nothing there. After mega investigation, they're like, you know what, sir? We don't believe any of this ever happened. You've been falsely accused. In 2012, a judge ruled Elizabeth's account incredible. Not credible. Bobby was told that her claims were inconsistent and her evidence contradicted itself. The timelines weren't there. There was no corroboration. She had made up names, he says. After $45,000 in legal fees, there was at least a measure of vindication when the allegations were expunged from his record. But his relationship with his daughter was irreparably just damaged. Despite the judge's finding, Elizabeth, which is not her real name, maintains her allegations against her father. Her mother supports her version of events. Bobby is now a 61-year-old security guard, and he remains baffled at how his daughter, in just 4 months, turned into a stranger. You guys are cracking me up that you could hear Ruffy over there. Ruffy, you were sleeping. Go back to sleep. You're adorable. But can you snore a little less loudly? You're interrupting everybody. Okay. Where were we? We have spent the last 14 years just theorizing. You guys don't mind? Oh, I know, Jesus, he literally feels cameras. He really does. He's really funny that way. And he's camera shy. He doesn't like to be on a camera. Why choose Castlewood Treatment Center? Read the brochure Elizabeth brought home. No, read the brochure Elizabeth brought home. Besides its intimate 10-bed residential facility and the beautiful landscape, Castlewood, the pamphlet emphasized, had expertise in, wait for it, internal family systems, IFS, internal family systems. We're going to find out that that's a therapeutic modality nowadays. Okay? It's a therapy centered on the idea that each individual has multiple selves. I mean, the therapy is already founded on this concept. Why don't we just find out if there really are more personalities, rather than start out the therapy based on the idea we're going to find them. They're there. These multiple selves are known as parts. In IFS, a part isn't a metaphor. It's a literal personality with its own identity, age, feelings, and even its own body. Traditionally, a person with separate autonomous personalities is viewed as sick or damaged and might be diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, according to Richard Schwartz, who conceived of the therapy in the 1980s and brought it to Castlewood. What are called alters in those people are the same things as I call parts in IFS, and they exist in all of us, according to Schwartz. To him, that's a good thing. By singling out parts, locating them in our body, and engaging them in conversation, IFS is said to relieve even the most severely traumatized people of their emotional burdens. Okay, it's a big deal. But it's just this one whack job guy doing it at this Castlewood place. I mean, that's bad enough, the lives that he's impacting. Wait, what do you think social media does when they run into situations like this? In recent years, the practice has exploded in social media. TikTok is flooded with millions of videos mentioning IFS, including those of people role-playing and analyzing their parts. And more than 45,000 mental health practitioners in Psychology Today's database offer it as a treatment. Schwartz's Educational Center, the IFS Institute, will have trained 15,000 therapists in the method by the end of this year, and another 5,000 on a waiting list. Celebrities have helped spread the word. Gwyneth Paltrow has praised IFS on her Goop podcast. And the writer Elizabeth Gilbert credited it with healing the toxic friendship. IFS offers each of us nothing less than the cultivation of kindness, wisdom, and empowerment, writes Alanis Morissette into the introduction to Schwartz's book, No Bad Parts. The scientific community takes a much less enthusiastic view of the practice. I'll continue to read this, but this is how out of control things can get and how quick. You throw a couple of celebrities behind some of these ideas, and you're TikToking away, baby. A growing number of psychiatrists and psychologists who at the doctoral level study the brain and mind, unlike counselors and therapists, are emerging with urgent warnings about this therapy, casting IFS as a simplistic allegory at best, and at worst, a dangerous pseudoscience. While some patients, this is an alarm bell out there. What kind of therapy are you getting yourselves involved in? How accurate is it? What are the therapists really doing and thinking? And you wouldn't believe how much it costs. While some patients find relief through IFS, critics argue that that's likely owing to the way it shifts responsibility for one's actions onto another persona, or the fact that it recycles aspects of traditional talk therapy that are in fact helpful. I'm aware of how trendy it has become, says Linda Bufka, the head of practice at the American Psychological Association. There may be elements of this intervention that are pretty standard and cut across what might be good psychotherapy, but the way it's packaged and described, those ideas don't have scientific basis. For patients with vulnerabilities, like complex PTSD, eating disorders, or psychosis, many of the very few IFS practitioners are taught to treat, the therapy could destabilize already fragile mental states. An unstable sense of self, for example, is a defining feature of borderline personality disorder, a condition that commonly occurs alongside anorexia and bulimia. Last year, Lisa Brownstone, a University of Denver psychologist and eating order Lisa Brownstone, a University of Denver psychologist and eating order specialist, co-wrote a report that raised questions about the risks of IFS. Brownstone has become alarmed after the multiple patients appeared disorganized and confused by treatments they had received from other providers that were IFS informed. The process of splitting apart and having them speak from different perspectives within themselves can start to make it even less clear where their reality lies. I'm sorry I keep going to him, you guys, but he's just so darn adorable to me. He's so cute. And that's the log sawing that's going on in the background. That's it. But I have him in here in the room, the office here, and I have the door closed, so he isn't going to run around a stranger's house and be up to no good while I'm in here for an hour. But he's never up to no good. He's such a sweet, sweet boy. We're just keeping our eye on him in here. So I apologize if it's disconcerting in any way. Former Castlewood patients told me they had witnessed women crawling around like babies. Okay? Oh, Sarah, that's cute. Crawling around like babies or lying in fetal positions. It wasn't uncommon to see people shaking on the floor, says Kimberly McDonald, Another used to run in circles screaming. In the span of a second, someone could switch ages, genders, and even species. Another ex-patient described how a transformation might come on. A person would start to twist their body, like some weird exorcism, and then scrunch their face, and in a girlish voice say, "Hi, I'm a willow tree." One of her parts was a willow tree. Over time, traumas that patients would divulge early in their stays snowballed to gruesome extremes. Some say they gathered in group sessions to listen to stories of parents pimping out their daughters to entire neighborhoods, a grandmother molesting a child in a bathtub, a child forced into a meat locker with dead animals, someone who claimed to recover memories of sexual abuse as an infant. It was almost like people wanted to one-up each other, says Maria Fursch, who is a research director. Really horrific things absolutely do happen. But do they only happen to the people who went to Castlewood? In 2011, Lisa Nassif was to sue the center and its co-founder and co-director, the psychologist Mark Schwartz. She claimed that he took advantage of her malnourished, medicated, and emotionally distressed self to make her believe that she'd been repeatedly raped and was once part of a satanic cult, and that he convinced her to become increasingly isolated from her family and friends by implicating them in the crimes that she alleged. Then came lawsuits from Leslie Thompson, who said she recovered false memories of rape and participation in a cult that ate babies. Colette Travers, who claimed that therapists conjured memories of sexual abuse at the hands of family members and classmates. And Brooke Taylor said she was falsely accusing relatives of sexual abuse. This Mark Schwartz guy's quite a package. By then, Mark Schwartz had sold a stake in Castlewood to the private equity firm Trinity Hunt Partners. What private equity firm would buy into this stuff? In 2017, another private equity firm, Riverside Co., took it over and renamed it Alsana. Last year, Alsana shut down its Missouri Center for good, but it continues to operate 4 facilities in California and 1 in Alabama. All 5 facilities have faced complaints similar to Castlewood's. The state of Missouri censured Mark Schwartz's license, and he agreed not to seek its renewal. So, dude, you can't practice here in Missouri. You're doing more damage than good. Cut you off. Your license is revoked. Don't worry about it. I have 4 operations going on in California and another one in Alabama, and I have a private equity firm that's ready to finance some more. After the lawsuits were settled, he moved to California, where he continues to treat patients with IFS at a facility in Monterey called Harmony Place. Richard Schwartz is, excuse me, this is just Shocking. Earlier this year, he spoke at an Alsana-sponsored conference on the power of internal family systems in treating eating disorders. That just breaks my heart that he's become a celebrity, says one former patient, referring to Schwartz. There is no evidence that IFS works. It's a sham, and it's dangerous. When I met Richard Schwartz over Zoom, he's sitting in front of an art print that reads, "It's never too late to come home to yourself." It's September, and he is in the middle of a busy fall schedule planning his annual IFS conference, where 1,000 tickets are on sale for 3 days of workshops. He's a stiff 76-year-old with a white goatee and black frame glasses. He explains his life work with the dryness of a tax accountant itemizing deductions. We're going to put you on hold there. We're going to pick it up tomorrow. We're going to learn just a little bit more about this. First of all, it's shocking. Why am I spending my time on this? Because I have to believe that this isn't the only outfit that's out there doing this crazy therapy stuff to people that don't know any better. It absolutely offends my senses to think that people in a position of responsibility to help people with their mental wellness actually make them sicker. It is, I have to sound the clarion. I have to address this. I have to talk about it. It's so shocking. It's so offensive. People spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars looking for relief, looking for help. And it helps one tea crew away. I'm not saying we can help everybody in every way, but the help really comes from an honest therapist, an honest facilitator. We have to be so careful, especially if we have children that we want to help, because you know your children aren't doing well. Be so careful about whose hands you put them in. Really be careful. Okay? Give me 5 people that want me to finish this article tomorrow. Give me 5 people. Pops, that article's good so far. Let's finish it tomorrow. We're going to get the interview of Schwartz, the actual interview. Paul, if it's boring for you, I understand. You don't have to be here. It's okay. And I understand, because I did ask. But I think I almost feel like a moral and ethical responsibility to call out the phony balonies. Okay? You need to know what's going on out there, right, Sanam? Okay. We're going to finish that article tomorrow. I appreciate your indulgence in letting me get this off my chest. We sit around and we're doing the best we can. Us here and people like us. And then we have people out there that are just scam artists. Damaging people, damaging families, damaging relationships, damaging communities with pseudoscience. Let's go to Brene Brown for the rest of the morning. Atlas of the Heart. Has anybody here ever experienced? Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Bubblegum. Thank you. I agree. You know what? I'm learning so much, and as I'm working towards my facilitator certificates, the responsibility is it's more. There's more involved in the responsibility than just growing a mushroom. Man, I was happy just growing mushrooms, and then when I turned it into, I really want to help people too with this beautiful plant medicine. Man, it just brings me to almost to tears to think how much good you can do compared to how much damage you can do. You guys get the idea. How many of us have experienced shame before? That's right, Higgs. Be extremely careful who you let tinker with your brain. That's really good. I'll tell you, shame kept me addicted. I was ashamed. I came out of the Marine Corps, and I'm this stud, lean green fighting machine. Had a great rugby career. And I started dealing drugs because I wanted to make some really fast money. Why? Because I had a child who was multiple handicapped from birth. And he was in the midst of, over the course of the first 14 years of his life, 21 operations on his body. And the service wasn't paying for it. I had to find a way to pay for it. That was my rationale. I can make good money selling cocaine, flying it in from Mexico, get deeply involved in the drug trade at a higher level than just a street gram or two. But I got to be able to pay for these operations. He clubbed foot, cleft palate, no muscles in his arms and upper body, joint repair, a total of 21 operations. And I'm like, I was overwhelmed. And I'm a young kid. His mom had left the scene. So I'm a single father. And I didn't know what to do. And my family didn't have money. I didn't come from money. So it's like, how am I going to, I could go become an aircraft mechanic now from my experience in the service, but I'm not going to make enough money to handle this business. So that's what got me started. I was 26 years old, 25 and a half, almost 26 years old. And I'm like, okay, I had a connection through a guy that I knew whose uncle, he was a Colombian guy, goofy guy, but his uncle was a bigger shot in the Los Angeles area, Colombian cartel. And I was introduced to him, and he took a shine to me. It was like, I like you, kid. You're aggressive, you're a risk taker. And you have a private pilot's license, so we could use you. That's what got me started. And so for the first 2 years, I was making money hand over fist. Hand over fist. Making all the money I needed. Not only to take care of my kid, but now I could even buy a sailboat. Now I could have a Porsche. And I bought some material things for myself. And my focus stopped being on how much I was helping my son, and I started helping myself. Now I take my first couple of lines of coke that I'd ever taken in my life. Oh, I like that. It made me a better drug dealer. Man, I'm on top of the game. Back then, you guys, some of you will remember this, back then, it wasn't really crack that we did freebasing. Freebasing. Freebasing's like even more strong and powerful than crack because it's so pure. So I learned how to cook. Now I became one of the best cooks in Southern California. I have some amazing supply. It's endless. And I can do it myself. I can fly it in, drop off my loads. I can cook. And yeah, oh man, I was like Miami Vice, baby. But inside, I knew I was doing the wrong thing. I knew it. There was no question from the day I agreed for my first lift. There's no question I knew that I was not being the Marine that I was so proud of being. I wasn't representing a beautiful family that I came from. I was the wild whack job, and I knew it. Now, I take after a few lines of cocaine, let me smoke the freebase. Off and running. You've heard this 100 times before, and you'll hear it another 100 times. Don't get high on your own supply. Pops had heard it, but he didn't pay attention. I was one of those, I can hear it, but I don't pay attention. I mean, this was early 80s, early 1980s at this point. And it was the Wild West. And so I started getting high on my own supply. I'm cooking it. Oh, I gotta test it before I put it out there. That was my first rationalization. Can I tell you guys at the root of it all, at the root of everything was shame. A deep, deep-seated, deep-rooted shame. I was ashamed of myself. But my first reason for doing it was, well, maybe a good one, I need to make money. By the time I'm 28, I need to keep doing this because I need to keep getting high. Well, luckily I was able to move it towards rehab by the time I was 30. But I had a strong 4.5 to 5 years of deep, deep-rooted shame. I was hurting more people on the planet than you can ever imagine. Poisoning them, turning them into drug addicts, so I could have a Porsche. It wasn't even about my son anymore. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Can you imagine single guy out there that's just trying to figure it out, making just about every call, doing the wrong one, making just about every possible call you can make, making it wrong. And I look around my family, my brother's this big shot fire department guy, my sister's the highest rated realtor in Maryland. I have 3 younger sisters that are beautiful and having beautiful families. And I'm running around like a wild man. And they all knew it. And they weren't very proud of me. Well, when they used to be proud of me, they're not anymore. I'm really getting in touch with the emotions about it this morning. Because I want you to know that if you feel shame about something, you're not alone. Shame is debilitating. Shame will keep you down if you don't find a way to shed your shame. What is shame? We're going to talk about that for today and tomorrow. Give me 5 people that are like, yeah, let's talk about shame. What we can do about it in a constructive, positive way. Huh? Give me 5 people. What I learned when I turned 30 and I started working on staying sober is that my shame can be turned into gain. I could take that same shame that I would wallow in and drug over, and I could turn that shame into gain for other people. But it took telling the truth. I'd have to tell them about me. I'd have to walk through the shame, share those experiences, where I was, what happened, and what it's like now. And I started helping people. And in 2 years, because you guys have already seen Pops, I do everything super fast, super hard, and super passionate. Now, 30, 32, man, I'm off to this theology colleges, and I'm like diving in, and I'm like, I'm in AA, and after a year, I'm going to be a sponsor, and I'm going to, we didn't have CA back then yet. We had AA, but there were a lot of people that were addicted to cocaine that went to AA, and we just replaced, when somebody said alcohol, my brain just said cocaine, because the stories are the same. I turned my shame into gain. I really did. And I spent the rest of my life trying to turn that shame into gain. And I still had periods where I would dip back into it. And then my bipolar stuff would kick in. But I never had to go back to the deepest level, the darkest days of shame that got me into rehab. So shame can become powerful, not only to destroy, but if we reverse shame, we can heal people. Give me 5 people that understand what I'm talking about. Turn your shame into gain. There's only one way to do it, though. There's only one way to do it. You have to tell the truth. You have to tell the truth. You have to share those deepest parts of you. And when you do, other people hear it and go, I want what he has today. Because I feel like the guy he was talking about yesterday. This is Brene Brown relative to shame. I had to tell you guys that story. You guys know me. And you've heard parts and pieces. I just want to help people today. I've just wanted to help people for the last 30 or 40 years, and I was always finding different paths, and some of them weren't nearly as productive as the one that I'm on today. This tea with Tea Crew. This is the most beautiful thing in my life. And to be able to provide plant medicine to people. That's what I truly believe is, at the end of the day, this is where I was supposed to end up. And I wouldn't have ended up here if I hadn't have taken that first line. I would have just been living, a stockbroker life somewhere, or who knows what, and just counting my chips, in retirement right now and just traveling or something. I like the life that I got dealt it now. I really do. I'm grateful for. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that when I was 30 and I was feeling the most shame of my whole life, that one day I'd sit in front of a group of 27,000 subscribers and say, I am grateful for shame. I came across a quote that the other day that read, Science is not the truth. Science is finding the truth. When science changes its opinion, it didn't lie to you. It learned more. I love that. The first thing I thought of was my shame. I just learned more. Let's go to Brene Brown. We only have a few minutes left today, but we're going to carry this message through to tomorrow. We'll finish the article from today, and we'll continue this concept of shame and then gain. Right, Bubby? If you're familiar with any of my work, you know that I've been researching and writing on shame and guilt and humiliation and embarrassment for more than 20 years. Let me read them to you again. Shame, guilt, humiliation, embarrassment. Can you imagine that? And if we stay in the experience instead of using the experience to help and heal, we're going to stay addicted. We're going to stay damaged. And we're going to damage people around us, including those that we love the most, like our children. Over these 2 decades, we've learned more about how these emotions work, and researchers have come up with innovative ways of measuring them. Mark, that's beautiful. Thank you. Innovative ways of measuring them. But nothing has fundamentally shifted my thinking on them until recently. New research on the connection between humiliation and violence has completely changed the way I think about emotion, and it's reinforced my belief that shame and humiliation will never be effective social justice tools. You cannot shame someone into changing. You cannot humiliate someone into changing. But you can take your humiliation and you can take your shame and you can make changes with it. But you can't use those as tools of change. We're going to talk about these 4 terms together because we have a tendency to see them interchangeably. Even though the experiences are very different in biology, biography, behavior, backstory, and self-talk. Self-talk. And they lead to radically different outcomes. We're also going to talk about the important role, wait for this one, self-compassion plays in moving through shame, and how perfectionism, we talked about yesterday, is a function of shame. I have just enough time to cover this, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. Let's have a short definition and an example of each of these 4 different emotions: shame, guilt, humiliation, and embarrassment. Shame is, I am bad. But not on the behavior. The result is feeling flawed and unworthy of love, unworthy of belonging and connection. You're the only one that did that. You're the only one that acts that way. You're the bad guy. You're the loser. And you're not even thinking about the actions that cause the shame. You've internalized it so much that you've turned it into who you are. I'm a shameful person. No. I'm a person that has done things that create shame, and I can change. An example of shame, you get back a quiz and your grade is an F. So your self-talk becomes, I'm stupid. Might have been I just didn't study. Might be I woke up with a headache, so I didn't do good on this test. There's a lot of reasons we get Fs. And they're not always because we're stupid. But that's our self-talk. The unhealthy self-talk. Guilt, I did something bad. That's the focus on behavior. Guilt is the discomfort we feel when we evaluate what we've done or failed to do against our own values. Guilt can drive change and positive behavior. Guilt is something we could either wallow in or we can rise above. Guilt's not a bad emotion in and of itself. It's what do you do with it? Is it a change driving emotion? Or is it something that drives you deeper into your isolationism and your shame? Humiliation. I've been belittled and I've been put down by someone. This left me feeling unworthy. Unworthy of connection. And I'm disgusted with myself. This was unfair and I didn't deserve it. With shame, we believe that we deserve our sense of unworthiness. With humiliation, we don't feel we deserve it. An example, the student sitting next to you sees the F at the top of your quiz, and he tells the whole class, this idiot can't even pass a quiz in here. He's as stupid as they come. Everyone laughs, and you feel dumb and enraged and humiliated. And the fourth emotion relative to all of this is embarrassment. I did something that made me uncomfortable. But I know I'm not alone. Everyone does these kinds of things. Embarrassment is fleeting. And sometimes it's even funny. Your teacher's handing out quizzes, and you come back from the bathroom with toilet paper stuck to your shoe. Oh, God, that's funny. Embarrassment. So let's talk some more about this tomorrow. We've run out of time here today. Boy, the day went by fast. With Pop's doing all this talking. But we're going to deep dive into shame, guilt, humiliation, and embarrassment. Give me 5 people that are looking forward to that. Tally, we took that down 6 months ago. There was a number of reasons, but I had to look at my risk assessments too. So we don't have that site anymore. So if anybody needs to reach out to me, they have to hit me over my email. And the only thing that I'm really offering today for help is the plant-based medicines. So we're ready for tomorrow. We're going to talk some more about this business. We'll finish up with this IFS fiasco, therapy fiasco. And then tomorrow we'll continue to talk about, I just love this topic. There's so much power And what we can do is we cure. Okay? Love you guys. Thanks for listening to me today. I can't wait for tomorrow personally. Tally, everything's great. Thank you. So, give me 4 agreements that you know Pops is Pops is practicing daily in his life. Be impeccable with your word and your actions. It doesn't sound like these IFS therapists are impeccable. Don't take things personal. Expectations. And then finally, do your best today. Tomorrow's given to no one. The past is already done. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it to change it. But I can take some of those past experiences, sit here in a national, this thing's gonna go down in my video library forever. I'm not gonna erase today's episode. And for the rest of Pop's life and after, I'm gonna be able to share my shame and my backstory and hope it helps people. That's a do your best moment. And you guys can all do it too. Have do your best moments a lot today. Okay? I love you guys. Thanks for listening to us today. Especially thank you for being here. A special amount of thanks go out to the people that are here regularly every single day. Every day. I was telling my sister, I could rattle off a name of 50 people, like right now, that I was like, I look forward to them every single day. What an amazing opportunity you guys have given me. Thank you. Let's keep helping each other. Okay? I'll scroll you guys out of here. Let's go with Niffer Mama No Expectations, Claney and Anthony Hunt, Aaron and Marky Z, Anthony and Cyber Jolie, good morning, Cybes, Joey Dees, and Derek Anderson. Thank you, my good friend, choosing kindness. Greenie, there's my Greenster. Jesus Christ in Australia. Anthony Hunt and Herbie Malwerby, Broken Furby Kabop, Aaron and Cleany, and Derek and Nippy. Michael Patterson, you got this. Narwhal, good morning. Shroom Digger, he's out there digging shrooms. Sarah Bear, big hugs to you. Brian C. and Oreo, good morning, Oreo. Herbs, I'll definitely tell Ruppy that he's getting a hug from you. Cleany and Michael Patterson tries. I love Michael Patterson, you guys. Joe Dees and Brian C. and Pacers. And Trenty the Trenty Trenterson, and Marky Z and Sue Little and Nippy. Love you too, sweetheart. Give Ava a hug from the old Popsaroo. Exception, Mr. Phillips and Pacers and Anthony Hunt. Thank you. Cleany, thank you, I love stay. Calico Meow Kitty. Pidgey, Page, you're beautiful. Vaggie. Love you, was telling my sister about you. What a good friendship we've made. Jesus and Herbie and Hags. Oh, we're going to be snapping, Hags. I'm going to write to you later today. Hope that you're available this Saturday. We'll see what's going on. Mushmouth, Carrie. Hell yeah, Mushmouth. Carrie, Pharmacy Runner. Thank you for your positivity. It's positively great that you're here. Jesus and Joe D. Kimberly, great show because you're here. Viva Vibes, that's Pidgey Page. I wish you guys could all give him a big hug. Wazzy, there's one of my good guys. Oreo and Zozo LSD and Jimmy all the way to the max. And Kitty Cat Meow Zilla. And Nippy, he's getting a car ride, you know it. He's sitting right there ready to go. Mr. Marmars, Dawn, and Mark Z. Anthony, Hunt, Carrie, thank you. Jesus Christ in Australia, Donnie, and Nippy. Ava just got her hug. I needed to hear that. Harvey, and Jesus Christ and Mr. Marmars, and Oriole and Pacers, and Derek Anderson, wanting Carrie to come back tomorrow. Vague, you too. Summer Wheat, there's a sweetheart. Love her. Vaggie, and Joe D's, and Mark Zanron, and Joe D's, and Pops, and peace, and love, and kindness, and healing. Let's keep healing. Let's keep practicing the 4 agreements. And let's come back tomorrow. See you guys.